This is our league MVP award. MVP in this league stands for Most Valuable Performer, but that is definitely a stolen sports term for Most Valuable Player. Performer just works out. Oftentimes we will actually refer to the performers here as players in scenes. But what does that even mean? What does it mean to be Most Valuable Performer? It means a lot of things. It means more than sometimes we can justify, and how hard it is to get into this category. There aren't honorable mentions for this category because of the separation for who makes it in and how hard it is to make it in. So let me tell you some of that list. So their basic understanding of what to do, your rules, your X's and O's, your yes ands, your scene work, your acceptance of how to talk to people and work with people in scenes. Can you give up an idea to go with their idea? Can you lead them in moments the way I talked about with Crystal Lynn a moment ago? Can you actually lift your team around you to be a better performer and team no matter how good or bad moments are going in scenes? I've met a lot of people who have funny moments. And honestly, funny moments is what creates this league. Funny moments is what helped Isaiah go, oh, this is funny, right? I want to try because it's funny. It's MVPs that really make a staple, that make us go, wow. That's not just funny, that's poetry. That's how it's done. That is what I want to do. It's an excellence of this art form that I want to highlight, and I want to scream to the heavens because of how important and awesome it is. It's hard to get into this category. I'm going to do the exact same with these 6. Please stand if you could, so I can give some stats on you and tell the audience about you. So please let me start from Durango. It's Emmy Robinson. Emmy is on a very, very short list of students who have been nominated for an award a second time, as she is now, this is her second MVP nomination. Emmy, as a performer, is somewhat of a wild child. We as a league have grown to know Miley, who Isaiah talked about. Miley was last year's MVP, actually. And we talk about Miley not just as a person, but as a concept. So people pull Mileys. But lately, people now are talking about pulling Emmys. Can you do what Emmy does in an actual scene? And if there isn't a giant, fun, platonic romance between Miley and Emmy, they love each other so much. What Emmy does on stage is unmatched. I don't think there are things you do that I can do. And I've been doing this a long time. Emmy, you deserve to be here. You also took another stat this year, also making it into a very short list of people who got multiple All-Star nominations. So Emmy, thank you. From Sunrise Mountain, Luis Vasquez. Have you been to those shows where there's 7 people in the audience and it's silent and the scene's not going well, but then you hear me burst into some weird fit of laughter where I go, that's because Luis told a joke. I don't know how your brain is wired so magically to create situations and angles that you walk into scenes with, but you make it look so easy. And not only do you make it look so easy, you took, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, you took a historically not successful Sunrise Mountain team who had never really won or accomplished much as a team in the, I don't know, playoff sense or award sense, and you turned it into a Cinderella team last year. You turned it into a Cinderella team that beat the defending champions, that beat strong, high-ranked teams, made it all the way to an inch before the championship. And if you didn't come in this year and go, how can I get better? And how can I keep doing that? So you're constant bugging me of what can I do, how can these scenes work. There were times in scenes where not only am I laughing, I'm looking at you, looking at me, as if you're like eyeballing, trying to look for my confirmation that you're doing well. And you were, you absolutely were. We're always gonna run into those moments where they're rough, and if you didn't power through them like a truck. You're here, just like Emmanuel, I spit a ton, and it's all your fault. Luis, thank you so much. From Durango, Maya Swift. So, in Maya's case, I'm going to simply start with stats, because the stats tell the story without the story. Maya, she is now our only student to ever be nominated for an award 3 times. And all 3 times it's been for this award, the MVP award, which also is backed up by the only freshman to ever be nominated for this award. Maya has found a way in her 3 years to come in and be that example and make the seniors look down at her as a freshman and go, what? You exist? How was I not like you? How is this team no better because this freshman came along? And that never fazed you. Sophomore year, it didn't faze you. This year as a junior, I think it was almost different. I wonder if this year hasn't been your best year because of how Sasha is now on an honorable mention list of how all of your team probably could have made it into all of these categories today if there wasn't 1,000 students in this league. And having an Emmy, being able to pull an Emmy, having a Maya together, if you two aren't a duo, I don't know what is. Maya stole another stat that has never been accomplished before either, that she didn't even realize was a stat that she kind of reacted to over the quarantine, and that is our main stage cast selections. Our main stage cast selections I don't think get a ton of love for what they are and what they mean, but essentially main stage cast selection is like a extension of this MVP award. There's so many students in this league that there's so much extra love that can go out there. I want to add that around. So there's 2 teams, there's a first and there's a second team. We've had a student get an all-star or a main stage selection 4 years, but we've had no student get it 3 years on the first team. And she is now the only one to get that award. And if somehow she's a freak of nature next year, we'll stand alone on that stat next year as well. So you've set precedents in so many different categories. How could you not be here today? Maya, thank you. Mr. Make It Look Easy from Cimarron, Donovan. Kind of. His freshman year was a year that he will admit he was very intimidated. He had, if you want to talk about a competitive team, Cimarron has always been that team. So he had some seniors that were our coaches and teachers, like those were the teammates. So I understand it. But his sophomore year, he made it in 2 shows. And after his first show, I remember saying to the coach at the time, "What's with that kid?" And then he skips his shows all the way to the playoffs. They put him in not the first, I think the 3rd round of the playoffs, and they put Donovan in on only his 2nd show. And I show up for their practice that week, and I went, "Oh yeah, I get it. I totally understand." And the junior year, he is clearly now the guy and the leader. And he is now Mr. Cimarron, and everything he did seemed like it was effortless. He could take a breath, and it's funny, because he knows how to take a breath. It's almost like he figured out the calculation. It's almost like he figured out the calculation, and you know what's funny? Is he will talk about his anxiety very openly, as he did before when I handed him a trophy. But if he isn't masterful on stage, it's amazing. Now, I don't know if you know this, Donovan, but it's probably a cool thing to point out, but you were actually number 7 on the list last year for the MVP nominees.
Whoa.
That's how good these MVP categories are. So if you're masterful and make it look easy, that's how tough it is to get into this category. And if you didn't have just a masterful year with all these juggernauts around you of all-star stealers and liars and all-star transfers, it's like somehow you went out and played NFL with the city and stole all these students, but it didn't matter. There was you leading the parade. Donovan, I would have been a complete dummy not to have you here today. Thank you so much. From Sierra Vista, Misha Provencher. Misha's a student as a first-year player last year that I warned their coaches about. I went to their coaches and I went, hey, that one, the quieter one, the one that isn't necessarily just screaming and jumping up and down, like push a button. Like, I'm telling you, that player can turn into something. And I did that all year last year, never once actually having that conversation with Misha. Finally, at the beginning of this year, in as brief of a conversation as I could possibly have, I said, Misha, I want you to know that last year I was annoyingly annoying your coaches because of the talent I think you have. I promise you, if you give this much, you're going to get something back in return. And she did. And I'll let her maybe describe if it was this much, that much, whatever her effort was. But Sierra Vista, you heard a second ago, took 3rd this year. And yes, they've got tons of power. They roll deep. They have 15 teammates in the audience for every single show. They were fighting for spots to get on stage and actually be a part of it, so how much they wanted it. This was the team where I had parents come up and talk to me, how do I help? How do I make this better? And then right at the nucleus of that is the person making sure that everything works the way it's supposed to work. And I honestly don't even know if you realize that. I think you are probably the biggest surprise in this category to yourself. And you might be the underdog in this category to the league of who is that person driving the boat on that crazy Sierra Vista team. I saw through it, I knew it, and I'm happy that you proved me right, because I get proven wrong a lot. Misha, thank you for being here. Not only am I excited for you being a part of this category, this, I think, launches you into a whole new atmosphere next year. So thank you so much. And if Wheaties boxes still put people on them, the person on the Jester's Wheaties box is our last nominee from Burkhart, Marley Stein. Watch some of the videos and things that we've done, that just to recaps, you'll see her pop up from time to time, so it was so easy just to say, hey, spokesperson, give me a riff on this. And I corrected her once, I think. One time I was like, can you just say one extra thing? Because it was always so natural. Everything you do is so natural. Like, she did all of that. I don't know if you can appreciate all of that I'm looking at, but there are so many different layers there. That you and Isaiah should talk about pointers. But it goes so much farther and deeper than that. You have been a part of a team the past couple of years that have been one of the best in the league. You've also been a part of a team that's experienced a ton of change. You are now clearly the leader of that team in the sense that literally, not figuratively, but literally, you would not have a team if you weren't the one driving that boat. But that also translates into your performance. That also translates into what you say and how you say it. And when you speak, the room listens. And sometimes you speak without even saying words. That is part of the beauty that you present to your team, to your league, and how good you are at this. I know how deep this is in your heart, and that bleeds into everyone else's hearts every time that you do something. You haven't said a word yet, and look at us now. You so intently stare at me. But they can all see it just through your wig.
It's called a weave.
I could stop for a minute and say, Marley, could you represent yourself better and say another minute of wonderful things about yourself, and you would kill it. You would absolutely kill it. Last year, I actually had some coaches come back to me when the nominees came out and said, hey, what about Wheaties Girl? Because of the effect that you have. Marley, you deserve it. Thank you for being here. My note to our winner. All of our winners deserve what you have. All of our nominees deserve this day. But sometimes that little bit I just talked about with Misha, sometimes our charm, sometimes our ability to tell a joke, our ability to lead, sometimes all of the bare ingredients of all of the stories I've told today are all we really need to have an impact and do something. And I know personally that you don't think that you deserve what you've accomplished in this league. I just couldn't disagree more. I'm happy that you get to stand here now in history, as all of you do, and represent us going into next year. The winner of your 2020 MVP award is Maya Swift.
You know, like, having like 3 years to like prepare for this moment, I have no idea what to say. Not a clue. But from the very beginning, I never really thought I was supposed to be here. Because if you know me, I'm not the biggest personality whatsoever. Compared to Emmy and my team, I'm so not out there, but I'm there. And I have so much to be thankful for, especially for this league and theater and all of that, especially Kopi. If you don't know me, I don't have 2 parents. I only have my dad. And I love my dad so much, and I have so much to be thankful for him, because I have that witty, stupid, dry English humor that he has. And as annoying as it can be, I'm sure he loves me, and I'm sure he's proud of me.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice reassurance. But I'm so thankful for my team, especially Emmy and Karina and so many people on my team that are always there, even if they're not there. And I just
It's yours, girl. This is your day.
Thanks. But I'm so thankful for Kopi, because he told me that I was supposed to be here, and I never thought I was supposed to be here. I'm not, this is real. But in my moments of being so hard on myself, and he sees it, he saw a lot of times where I was very hard on myself. But he told me I was supposed to be here. Even comparing myself to Miley and Isaac and Tirza, gosh, they're huge, they're amazing, and I never saw myself being here. Especially with all the masks, and you guys all kind of look scary.
It is a little different looking, right?
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
But I still remember the first day I went to improv, and sitting there in a chair in Switch interview with Kopi and him saying that he peed himself.
That's bad improv, I did that.
I am not going to tell the context of it because that's just funnier.
I don't remember.
But I'm so thankful to improv because it was the one thing that I know that I was good at, but also needed a lot more reassurance. So thank you to, gosh, everyone in this league, because if I don't know you, I want to know you, because I know all of you have something special, something beautiful, and if you don't think you do, shut up. You do, you're here, and we want you here. And this league's lasted 10 years, and it should last 100 more. So, thank you.
I will be here for all 100 years.